anybody who supports any of the streams I do, you are just like a top 10 human that exists, because at the current moment, we'll say there's about 10 consistent people in here every now and then. But for those who haven't, I love you too. I love all you. We're all just chilling. And today we're back with another historical research quest stream. We're going to keep it tight and short. It's 6:18 p.m. I'm going to try to be done by 7:15 this evening. See if I can maybe not blabble, ramble, squabble as much as I do. I do want to add that one weird thing about operating these streams is that it is just so crazy to me that once you get a nice setup. Like, listen, I got a pretty nice little setup going here. We got my boy Green Screeny, and he does great work. My boy Green Screeny does great work. We got my other boys, Studio Light number 1, Studio Light number 2, Studio Light number 3. We have a pretty exceptional webcam running, and if you're wondering what webcam we're running, it's an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Let me tell you, there's a serious hack there. People got to be using their phones as webcams because it looks good. The color, the pixels, the trigonometry, the geometry, the calculus, the trigonometry, all of it sort of just does its mathematical perfection and beautification. That really sets up a nice setup. But one of the issues here is that once you get a nice setup, there is no going back. It takes a minute or two to set this up. And I was getting lazy. I was like, listen, I don't really feel like setting all that shit up right now, right? So I was going to use my old setup, just my old webcam that's connected to my PC. I was going to do a virtual background, and I start seeing blurs behind me, not clear borders, issues, little tiny imperfections that the viewer themselves most likely would never even notice. However, myself, once existing and living in this beautiful world that is good production, I'm really struggling to take it back down for convenience purposes, which, might I add, is a good thing. Once you go back there, you can't go back. You know, I was trying to find a way to make the saying work, but you can't do it. It doesn't work here. All right. Once you go nice studio, nice production, there is no going back. And that's just the hard truth. That's how it is. That's how it works, right? Well, this evening, we have an incredible historical research quest stream planned for you all. And that is going to be the John D. Rockefeller and the Rockefeller Foundation. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. It's going to be a fun little story, but first things first, you know the rules. We need to get the stream link posted and just pushing out to all the bros. Wait, am I on the right? Oh, guys, recently, because as you know, we've been doing the lead up streams and the streams coming up to the launch of the USA250 Digital Impact Network. I'm streaming on multiple channels now. So every time, the one thing that has been slipping my mind on the low key is which channel I'm streaming to. But it's totally fine. Luckily, I'm using preset templates. And you know what? I also want to say I'm really not starting, like I've been loving it, but I love live streaming. I can only imagine how much more fun it'll become as the community grows here and as the family of streaming grows here, because I think the opportunities are endless. There's so much fun to come, especially after the USA 250 DIN launch. So this isn't a USA 250 DIN stream. We'll talk about it a little bit, but if you want to see the full project details and what the USA 250 Digital Impact Network is, in short, it's the philanthropy and community support framework that we are launching to be utilized by us and everybody else for free, completely transparent, completely auditable, very efficient, and most of all, very community forming and friendly. So you can, if you want more information on that, please go to usa250din.com to read the full public/published white paper. But you can also watch back the lead up stream number 3 out of 5 that I hosted just last night on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, which completely breaks down the entirety of the project. Andrew from Helping Hoosiers Heroes came and joined us last night. And overall, it was just a fantastic stream. So it really details what the project is in full. Let me make sure. So it really details what the project is. I think we're good. Let me make sure. So it really details what the project is. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Awesome. Sorry, I know you guys heard some double audio there, but no worries. Thank you so much. Someone already popped in, dropped a like on the stream. Big appreciate you. Big time appreciation for the like on the stream. Don't forget to like, comment, share the stream if you're around. Love having you here. Love tuning in with you all. So yeah, but we are just gonna quickly get this stream link posted to X, and then we're gonna get right into this evening's historical research quest stream, which I'm very excited about. Continuing on the theme recently of philanthropy, community support, institutions, foundations, and frameworks built around that in the past that we can learn from, find the important things, the beneficial and the useful components, take it into the future with us, and utilize the modern technology and opportunities of today to mend them and expand the levels of impact that those frameworks can really do. They were quite limited back in the day due to a lack of technology. They weren't limited relatively at that time, but to us, think about how much larger our exposure and reach is. Think about how many more people we can combine and come together with and move forward with a shared purpose, a shared goal, whatever that may be. And band together and create something powerful. It's incredible what technology allows us to do. It just needs to be utilized in the proper ways and set up in the proper frameworks in order to maximize its impact and benefit to society. Not and some people might not like this, but not necessarily comfort, but beneficial. So yeah, but like I said, it's not a USA250 DIN stream. I don't want to yap too much about that. We have some incredible pictures up here to, I guess for you, it's to the left of me. Yeah, this should take 2 seconds to post the stream link. If anybody's in chat, I like to give these few minutes. I wait to post the stream link until I'm live, just to give people a couple minutes to roll in. If anybody will join us. We for tonight's HRQ stream. Tonight's HRQ stream. For tonight's HRQ stream, historical research on Rockefeller and the Rockefeller Foundation. Swing by if you have time or watch it back later. Later, loser. That is live. That is active. We are pumping. Fantastic. We are active. We are rolling. Sweet. Let's see. Amazing. We have everything. I just want to make sure I have all my proper notes here. I don't want to miss anything this evening. I've been pretty proud of the products of these recent historical research quest streams, to be honest. I've been having a lot of fun with them. I like digging up old stuff that may be in my distant memory and really communicating them with you all through these streams so I can refresh my own memory, learn some new things along the way, and most importantly, share some of this knowledge, experience, and historical information with you all. That's like the best part of it. So that's what I'm doing. And this evening we are talking about John D. Rockefeller and the Rockefeller Foundation. You know, he was pioneering systematic philanthropy for community and global good. If you know anything about the Rockefeller family, then you know that that name is very present still even today. So although this is a historical research quest and we focus on historical topics here, that is definitely a name that has been brought into the present big time. And right here on this first image that I have pulled up behind me, you have the one and only John D. Rockefeller. And this dude was the richest person to ever live. Like, ever. He looks like it too. Look at this guy's face. John D. Rockefeller, this is a rich face, right? It's just a rich face, straight up. But we'll get into that. We're going to talk more about him. We'll talk about his past, how he got into the philanthropy space, what brought him there, and what incredible contributions he had to everyone, to people all around, and even to this day during his time, and that followed him all the way into the modern day. So I'm excited to jump into it. We're going to get into this stream right now. Like I said, less yapping, more just talking, sharing information about tonight's historical research quest topic, and plug my other ear in just so we can get locked in and ready to go. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So good evening. I like to formally start these off every time. So if anybody's watching the VOD back later, you'll know when it's getting started. If you're watching this back after we're live, I would love for you to leave a comment and tell me you watch this, because that lets me know that, you know, it's not just the live component. It's not just that I'm live, but some people value some of the information through these streams. So I would love feedback on that if anybody happens to be watching this later. And that is a really big point I want to hit on, because I want to get a gauge of it's not about how good they perform or how good they do, but if they're useful to anyone. So if these streams are interesting to you, if you like listening to them, if you ever watch them back later, if you think I do a decent job at talking about the topics that I do cover and the events, people, and eras I discuss, I would love feedback on that. Obviously, feedback is the number one way that a creator or a streamer, podcaster, or whatever, any person not working in the digital space knows if what they're doing is valuable and useful, or if they should change it up and do something else. Even though I love doing these, there's a million things I love doing. I can always find something to create and do for you all. So that's exciting. Without further ado, let's jump into tonight's historical research quest stream and get right on with it. So good evening, everybody. Mostly to the people watching on Rumble and X. We are streaming to a few other places, but Rumble and X are the main home of NAG. So on those two platforms, or wherever you've joined us tonight, I welcome you. Good evening. Let's have a fantastic stream here and talk about John D. Rockefeller, as well as his incredible impact all the way to this day. So welcome to this week's historical research quest right here on the NAG stream / the USA250 DIN stream. Everything's a little interconnected now. But I'm Leon Horvath with Network Access Group. And I'm really glad you're here. I'm very, very glad you're here. Let's get into it. Every single Wednesdays, we carve out this hour approximately, we've been going over recently, to slow down, dig into history, and pull out the stories that remind us what's possible when vision, discipline, and a desire to lift up communities come together. I just said together. Let's take a moment of silence for that. One more time from the top. No, I'm just kidding. But these stories remind us what's possible when vision, discipline, and desire to lift up communities come together. So tonight we're spending the full hour, the full block that we've got going on one of the most consequential figures in the history of American giving. Yo, I'm gonna need some water here. What a start. What a start. Oh boy. What a start. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's insane. But one of the most consequential figures in the history of American giving is the one and only John D. Rockefeller Sr. and the creation and early work of the Rockefeller Foundation as a whole. So this isn't just a biography. That's not what we're doing here. We're going to walk slowly through his early life, how he built his fortune, the pivotal moment when he turned toward giving, all the specific campaigns that changed millions of lives, the philosophy behind it all, and most importantly, the powerful parallels to exactly what we just so happen to be building when it comes to the USA250 Digital Impact Network. So we'll touch on a little bit there. We'll grasp some parallel roads and match them up to show you how some of these past values, past ideas, and past initiatives really inspire and launch us into the future of philanthropy and community support frameworks, just like the one we are building, but others as well, not just us. All right. So right here, our first image that we're looking at, like I said before, is the one, the only John D. Rockefeller. And like I said, he was the richest person to ever live. Point blank, period. He looks the part. He played the part. He lived the part. And that's the reality. So we got a formal black and white portrait here of John D. Rockefeller standing confidently in a dark suit, hands in his pockets, super chill guy, with a serious and determined expression. Determined to make a lot of money. That's damn right. I know that's right. So take a good look at that face. That is the man who would become the richest person in modern history and then decide to give the vast majority of it away in the most methodical way the world had ever seen up to that point. Straight up. We'll take our time with this one. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn maybe, get comfortable, and let's begin. Actually, don't get popcorn because the stream is not going to be that long. So maybe just a drink. But that's what we're going to do. So first, we're going to start off with John D. Rockefeller's early life and his formative years. All right. So John Davison Rockefeller, that was his name. All right. He was born on July 8th, 1839 in a small farming community in Richford, New York. He's a New Yorker. Life was not easy. You know, I love when a loaded person's story starts like that. It's quite often. But other times it's also mommy and daddy were quintillionaires, right? Different time. Basically everyone we hear about from this period, they did it themselves, bro. So his father, John D. Rockefeller's father, William Avery Rockefeller, was often absent. He was a traveling salesman known for flashy deals and questionable ethics. His mother, Eliza, was the steadying force, devoutly religious, extremely frugal, and insistent that her children learn the value of work and charity. So working for their own stuff, building up their careers, their communities, and developing into strong, independent individuals, while also supporting the communities, giving back, being lasered in on charity, and the mix of those two values there and those important sort of sectors of life built him to become the man he ended up being. So that's a pretty good base. Hard work is important. Community support, charity is important. Those two are pretty strong topics to be knowledgeable on and to be brought up on. So from the time that John D. Rockefeller was a small boy, he kept a little ledger book. He recorded every penny he earned and every penny he gave away. By age 12, he was already tipping 10% of his earnings to his local Baptist church. That habit never left him. 10%. By age 12, he was given 10% of his earnings to the church. You know what I was doing at age 12? I was taking the last $2.50 out of my pocket to get 2 cheeseburgers at McDonald's while I was chilling at the pool with my friends in the community. All right. I wasn't thinking about giving 10% of my earnings to any institution, anyone, anything, anywhere. That's not what I was doing. But by age 12, that's like what, 6th grade? John D. Rockefeller was giving away 10% of his earnings to the local Baptist church, supporting them. So at 16, John Rockefeller left home and moved to Cleveland, Ohio. He took up a job as a bookkeeper and clerk at a produce commission merchant. He was already known immediately for his precision, his honesty, and his refusal to waste even a single sheet of paper. Remember, his mother was very frugal. He was tight, growing up tight, so he was living tight, even into his adult years when he was starting off his career as a kid, as a teenager growing up, which is impressive. That discipline is just etched into him by nature. So in 1859, at just 20 years old, he and a partner invested in a small oil refinery. Right when the oil rush was beginning, after the discovery of Titusville, Pennsylvania. So he got in on the oil nice and early at 20 years old. So Rockefeller had an almost supernatural eye for efficiency. He cut costs ruthlessly, negotiated better railroad rates, and focused on quality over quantity. Over the next 2 decades, Standard Oil grew to control a huge portion of the American oil industry. By the 1890s, he was the wealthiest individual of the United States. So remember, in 1859, at just 20 years old, he jumped into the oil industry with his partner. And by the 1890s, just 30 years later, he was the wealthiest individual in the United States. 30 years for a come up like that is insane. It didn't take him 30 years to make a mill like you hear modern day. Oh, I became a millionaire at 21, whatever. No, in 30 years from age 20 to 50 something, he became the richest person, the richest individual in the United States. That's inspiring right there. But wealth obviously brought scrutiny, just like it does with everyone today. So newspapers attacked him, lawsuits followed him everywhere. In 1911, the Supreme Court ordered the breakup of Standard Oil. Many men in his position might have become bitter or totally withdrawn, which is understandable. But Rockefeller did the exact opposite of that. He began to see his fortune as a sacred trust. He started giving more and more and more and more, but always with a plan. Community support with a plan. Which is, that's an interesting turn. Your major company is forced to break up. You're the richest man in the United States, and you turn to helping people and giving away more and more. Like it's interesting. What makes a human like that? That's my question. Is like, what makes that sort of a switch go off in your brain? We know the answer a little bit, especially now, his upbringing and stuff like that. But in the moment, when you're experiencing that firsthand, what is it that makes you react not positively immediately, but in the long run, and in terms of short-term decision making, he positively reacted to such a ruthless and destructive, order from the Supreme Court to his own personal life. And he turned that energy and focused on supporting communities, charitable giving, giving back in general, and pushing people forward, which is impressive. So here we have a colorized historical portrait of a younger John D. Rockefeller with a mustache, dressed in formal 19th century business attire. Let's pause here for just a moment and really feel that transition. All right. Imagine going from being one of the richest and most criticized men in America to deciding you will use that same exact discipline that built your entire mega empire to try and solve some of humanity's biggest problems. And that's exactly where our story takes off from tonight. In this next section, we're going to be focusing on the birth of scientific philanthropy and major institutions. So Rockefeller didn't believe in scattershot charity. He called it scientific philanthropy. Study the problem deeply, bring in the best experts, fund solutions that can scale and last, and measure the results. Extremely efficient, extremely powerful, extremely important. In 1901, he created the Rockefeller Institution for Medical Research. Today, it's known as Rockefeller University. He wanted a place where the brightest scientists ever could work without worrying about funding or teaching loads. That institution produced multiple Nobel Prize winners and laid foundations for modern medicine. Let's take a look at that. So here we actually have the Rockefeller Institute and the growth of cell biology. So here's a historical photograph showing the large research buildings of the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research. In 1902, the General Education Board, with $1 million, which was an enormous sum at the time. I don't even think I really have to mention that. But in 1902, $1 million is pretty ridiculous. He launched the General Board of Education to improve education, especially in the South, where opportunities were severely limited compared to the North. Then in 1913, the Rockefeller Foundation received its charter from the New York State Legislature with one of the broadest mandates ever given to a philanthropy. And it was simply to promote the well-being of mankind throughout the world. Now that's ultra broad, isn't it? That's really broad. The mandate from the New York State Legislature was regarding philanthropy, bro, just promote the well-being of mankind throughout the entire world. There's a lot of opportunity there. A lot of opportunity there. Now, I really respect that focus, the launching of the General Education Board, because that runs so in parallel with the USA250 Digital Impact Network, because pillars of the community, veterans, active military, firefighters, educators, teachers, hospital workers, nurses, these pillars of the community and development of modern life, they are part of our 6 founding categories within the USA 250 DIN framework, which means that when it comes to our contributions to community at the start, at the very least, and giving back to communities on behalf of the organization and us, we are starting off by focusing on these public service individuals and who we consider pillars of the growing community. Now, when anybody else uses the USA 250 Digital Impact Network, nobody else is told or asked or required to contribute or show support for anyone in any given category. Individually, on a personal level, when you are going to interact with the framework and you want to utilize it to either receive support or contribute support, it is 100% free and independently your choice on where you want those funds to go. So John D. Rockefeller also gave tens of millions of dollars to establish and strengthen the University of Chicago, turning it into a premier research institution almost overnight. Let's take a look over here at that, right? So, this is historical architecture or historical architectural renderings of the Grand University of Chicago campus with its iconic Gothic buildings and layout. And like that's a pretty incredible little image there. I love this depiction of the University of Chicago. It's beautiful. Look at this. You can play Foursquare on the corners of the campus. You have a lot of buildings here, a lot of housing. Obviously, the main Gothic structure there in the middle. This is some place where, like, I love this style of architecture. I'm a huge fan of it. And obviously that surrounding area doesn't exactly look like that anymore, does it? But at the time, here are the architectural renderings of the Grand University of Chicago from the 1900s. So these weren't, and like I said, John Rockefeller himself gave tens of millions of dollars to establish and strengthen the University of Chicago. So this is in nature like his product. These weren't random gifts, though. He wasn't just throwing money at anything. Rockefeller required detailed plans matching commitments from communities and ongoing accountability. Does that sound familiar? It's the same spirit of thoughtful structure, community buy-in, and transparency that we've built into every section of the USA 250 DIN project. Here, next up, we're going to talk about the hookworm campaign and expanding global impact. So one of the most inspiring chapters of his life and of his involvements is the war on hookworm. Okay, in the early 1900s, the parasitic worm infected as many as 40% of people in parts of the rural South. So it caused an anemia, exhaustion, and stunted development in children, quietly robbing communities of their potential. But John D. Rockefeller and the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission, and later the foundation, launched a massive campaign. Mobile clinics, public education, treatment with medicine that was cheap and effective, and sanitation improvements. They went county by county, and they trained local doctors and teachers, and they used data every step of the way to help people suffering from the hookworm. And they went on this whole hookworm campaign and began mobilizing and expanding global impact through their work. So the contributions by John D. Rockefeller, the ability for the community to come together and work together to support one another, was able to cultivate and mobilize a major movement like the hookworm campaign, where they were able to give direct support, education, sanitation improvements, and just general help when it came to hookworm, which so much of the rural South was suffering from. John D. Rockefeller was Loaded, bro. He could have easily just sat back and been like, yo, if hookworm comes from me, then I'll be chilling. Like, I'll figure it out. I got enough resources. I got a good team. But no, that wasn't enough. He wanted to support the overall development of the nation and the people within it, the communities who resided throughout America. So he took it upon himself to contribute a mass amount of funds, fund this entire operation, the hookworm campaign, build the teams, and get people out there to support the communities in need, which is awesome, right? So here's that. Here we go. County dispensary for free treatment hookworm disease. I love how they wrote it with an E, disease. Hookworm disease. Why did we ever change that? Anybody want to give me a little bit of information on why we ever changed it? Why is it hookworm? Why is it disease now and no longer disease? The other funny part is you can see they had like a little bit of a misprint here. That first D they placed was not in the right place. So they had to move it around, and they didn't have whiteout back then. Actually, I don't even know if you could use whiteout on paper that big, but this is how hookworm, it gave the South a bad name, and then the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission was able to jump in and support so many people throughout these needy communities. As you can see, look, we have it right here in the photo. We have like what, 24 people here in this photo, maybe more, 36. And these are all people who either assisted through the dispensary or were coming to help from the Rockefeller Sanitation Commission. So very cool stuff there. So this is a black and white historical photo of a large group of children and adults gathered outside a county dispensary for free hookworm treatment under a big banner. Now, listen, we really got to highlight and this point of free. We're talking free hookworm treatment, not $1, not $2, just like through the USA250 Digital Impact Network. You don't have to pay anything to take part in and enjoy the content and support being brought through the framework. The framework itself is completely free to use. The only funds ever being spent or exchanged throughout that framework are monetary contributions that you want to send someone in need, someone receiving that contribution. Direct peer-to-peer support. No passing through the hands of middlemen, no administrative fees, just free support framework so your contribution can get to its intended recipient ASAP. 100% transparent, 100% visible, and 100% impactful. So infection rates completely collapsed when the sanitation group started going around. All right. School performance absolutely soared. Adults returned to full work schedules and capacity. The success was so clear of this mobilization of the Rockefeller Sanitation Committee that the foundation took the model international. And they fought hookworm in the Caribbean, yellow fever in Latin America, malaria in multiple continents. And this community support venture that started off as just an idea, grew to local, grew to nationwide, ultimately grew to being worldwidely effective because there were so many people. There was enough people that didn't have to worry about putting food on the table the next day. And instead, they could just support through the Rockefeller Sanitation Committee, which is awesome to see. Like when you're supporting the community, giving back and doing this charitable giving, your impact multiplies, okay? And it grows so much faster than you just having an idea yourself all alone, right? They helped establish schools of public health at Johns Hopkins and elsewhere. They supported the development of modern public health systems that still protect us today. All of these little mobilizations and smaller events grew into what we have now today. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. So here we have another group photo of the Rockefeller Foundation workers and community leaders standing together in front of a building during one of the field campaigns. So by the end of his life, Rockefeller had given away roughly $530 million personally, the equivalent of billions and billions of dollars today. The foundation he created was given away far more over the decades. Since his passing, since he was living, the Rockefeller Foundation continues to contribute to communities and support people all around, even to this day. That's why that name is etched into the history of this country. But $530 million personally in the 1900s is mental to think about. It is wild to think about, for real. It's seriously insane. So that's 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 really that's a lot of that's a big part of it there. So I want to do some I want to draw some parallels to our USA 250 Digital Impact Network mission and give some closing reflections as well. So let's connect this story directly to what we're doing, right? Like, and when I say what we're doing specifically regarding the USA 250 Digital Impact Network, okay? Rockefeller insisted on separating the money from politics and ego. He created independent institutions with clear charters. He demanded results and public reporting. He focused relentlessly on education and health, exactly which happen to be the pillars we have in our 6 founding community impact categories. Our non-custodial model, the 3 levels of transparency: on-chain, platform, and self-reported transparency, the live stream distributions that we plan on doing, the public wallet registering, and the distribution ledger are the 21st century evolution of that same idea that John D. Rockefeller had all the way back then. So make the giving visible, verifiable, and efficient so the full value reaches the people it's meant to help. Do you see how those parallels sort of connect and come together? Especially when we're talking about USA 250 DIN and John D. Rockefeller. How some of his values from the past and his approaches to problems with the current technological opportunities and the systems in place then connect to what we're building now, except now we just have all these incredibly strong tools that are often being used for bad that can easily be reverted to be used for good. And we want to connect these important values that drove this country forward so many decades and over 100 years ago, and brought us here today. We need to adapt. We have to continue to innovate and create new frameworks and utilize every little tool we have to build modern frameworks that can serve the same purpose as those historical frameworks, just on a much larger scale, much more efficiently, and much simpler for the people of this country and the world far beyond as well. The hookworm campaign showed what happens when you combine resources with local action and education. That's as simple as I can put it, right? So that's precisely the multiplier principle that we talk about in the white paper of the USA 250 Digital Impact Network. So one act of support inspires the next, and the community grows to stronger and more capable and more impactful down the road. As we head into these final weeks before the July 4th, 2026 launch of the USA 250 Digital Impact Network, stories like this one about the Rockefeller family, the Rockefeller individual, and the Rockefeller Foundation give us both humility and confidence, right? Humility because the challenges are real and the work is never finished. Confidence because Americans have done this kind of thing before on a massive scale, and it already worked. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just innovating the wheel a little bit to make it simpler, better, and more effective on the scales that we live at today. Think about how many more people exist on the planet today than they did back then. For real. Like I said, we are not inventing the wheel. We are putting modern digital tools, blockchain transparency, live stream accountability, direct wallet-to-wallet efficiency on that same timeless American impulse to take care of our own communities openly, generously, and effectively. We've honestly covered a lot of ground tonight. I told you it was going to be a shorter one. I have less time with how I'm preparing for these digital impact network streams, but I think it's really important to come on here and have these chats, like these quick one-off chats, talk about these important contributors to society, and 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 focus on how we want to continue taking this accountability, community support, philanthropy, and true impact into the future as we come up on the closing of the first quarter century of the United States history, and we move into the next one. Hopefully, a quarter century filled with prosperity and support and thriving systems that help humans live to their maximum potential, help to their max potential, and even exceed far beyond that later down in life. So I love talking about these stories because they draw fantastic parallels with our project. And I honestly just believe that it's really good to refresh your memory that the only things going on in this world aren't all bad. It's not all harmful. Not everybody's out to get you. Not everybody is here causing problems, pushing enormous amounts of greed, lacking transparency and accountability. No, there are people, groups, and communities out here that want to do good and they want to support others in doing good and achieving their goals and missions. We all should want that for one another. This whole greed, jealousy, nonstop competition, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. Outliers pop out of it. They do fantastic. They thrive. But have you not noticed that the general community and the people of the country are suffering more and more what feels like year after year? I notice it. I'm on X, I'm on the internet all day long. All I see is people complaining 24/7. It's because hyper individualism has completely overrun this nation, and I hate to say it. It's completely stifled the development of fantastic ideas, and it's brought it down to just the outliers coming out with these incredible systems, frameworks, and whatever. But 275% smart people are smarter than one 100% smart person. If we check the math on that, that might not even be mathematically correct. 2/3 combine for more than a half. That's the way to say it. 2 1/3 of a person are more than 1/1/2 of a person. And that's exactly why we're developing the USA250 Digital Impact Network. We want to provide a framework. We want to contribute it to the people of this country and the world, for that matter, to be able to support, contribute, receive help, and just assist each other in the most transparent, easy, and efficient way possible. Rockefeller focused heavily on funding the doing of good. And creating structures and game plans for his investments that he was sure would actually work and his money would actually get somewhere. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to create a framework that anybody can use in full trust, knowing that their contributions get to their intended recipient. And I love that about it. I love that about it. Now, I want to turn this off. We're going to stop talking about that now. But what we're not going to stop doing is we're going to quickly, a new little component of these streams that I want to do is I kind of want to start playing one chess game at the end of every single, let's see if this works. Oh, shoot. What if we do it like this? Oh, it does work like, no, it doesn't work like this. Arg. I think I'll have to do a new. Yeah, I'll have to do a new window capture for this, which is not a problem at all. I'll just delete it afterwards. Let's do a little window capture action. Then we'll crop it. Okay. Hey, I gotta run it. I got it figured out. All right, we're up and running. We're up and running. So we're quickly gonna do one quick game. Because why not? Let's start it up. All right, let's make a good first move here. I've been seeing this move recently. Okay. Okay. Oh, bate. Oh. Bad bate. Huh. Oh, enchanté. What do I want to do here? Oh, I like this move. And then we are going to come right here, my friend. Actually, no, we're going to move this out of the way first. Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, where are you going to go now? Where are you going to go now? I would love to know where you're going to go now, bro. Yeah, it's... Oh wait, I don't know what move to make. I'm gonna go here. I don't feel like I'm watching enough of the board right now. Oh ha ha, enchanté, enchanté, enchanté. Oh. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? How smart do I want to play? Because I could go like... Let's see what this guy's got cooking up for us. Oh ha ha, oh ha 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 ha. You think you are smart, eh? You think you are a sneaky guy. Well, you are not a sneaky enough for me. Yeah. Support it with the bishop. You always want to look for a good support angle. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything about chess, by the way. Yeah, we're going to go right here. Oh, we trapped him. We trapped him. We trapped him. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Unless he goes right here. Look at that, stupido, stupido. Oh, not so stupido, is he? Not so stupido. But... Really, that's what you want to do there? Is that really what you want to do there? You're gonna go there. You're gonna go there. You can go like anywhere really. I'm a little curious to see what he does here. I think I might have missed something, to be honest. Oh, what a play! Almost. Almost a good play. No, I just left a bishop wide open there. Oh, guys, I'm running low on time. I'm running low on time. I gotta move way faster than I am. He's moving way quicker than me. That's embarrassing. I hate when that's the case. I want him to waste as much time as possible. Interesting. Ah. Oh, shoot. I have to move my queen. I have to move my queen. I have to move my queen. I almost just made a grand error there. Yeah, I was just about to say, I have enough pressure there. So, honestly, what I can do is just kind of move here. And then I should be able to get a fair... Oh. I'm never playing chess again, guys. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Oh, that's just so piss poor. All right. Anywho, that's it for this evening's stream. Thank you all so much for joining us for this week's historical research quest. We dove into John D. Rockefeller as well as the Rockefeller Foundation. He gave away over $500 million in his lifetime. He built an incredible foundation, scientific philanthropy. He always wanted to make sure he knew the impact of all the funds he was giving back, and it's a really inspiring story. Runs really well in parallel with exactly what we are building to the USA250 Digital Impact Network. And without further ado, I will see you all next Tuesday for stream 4 of 5 at 6 p.m. Eastern, leading up to the launch of the USA250 DIN. Nevertheless, I will see you next Wednesday for the next historical research quest stream. And either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we will do a stream this weekend, either playing golf, either playing some video games, or just hanging out. So thanks so much for joining.